Yeah, thank you, Sunil, for the welcome here on that stage, and also a warm welcome to you from my side. It is an honor to speak here at the PROS conference and speak about the digital transformation of group business at the Lufthansa Group, and to share some of our learnings on our digital journey. So before starting, I would like to do some kind of education what business is actually, and maybe some of you are not really familiar with it. So I give you some explanations. So first, a group business, group is when more than 9 people are traveling together in a group. It could be a private group, 20 people going on an island for a weekend. It could be a cruise tour, so a tour operator or cruise operator bringing hundreds of people to the coast side of Miami where the group is entering a ship for a long cruise trip. Or it could be also a business conference, 20 people going to Detroit for an automotive conference there. So that is what we talk about group business, and that's a group. And this, be it a private or a leisure or a business group, there are some key characteristics which are typically for all of them. So the first is that typically a large number of passengers are in one PNR. The average group size actually is 25. It could be also up to 100 depending on what the purpose of the trip is. So, and group bookings are made well in advance before departure. So on average, a group is booked half a year before departure, on average. So some groups are even booked 12 months before departure. And at the time of the booking, and that's the key characteristic too, key information are unknown. So we do not know at time of booking who actually is traveling. We do not know the names. We do not know what is the origin of the passenger. So for example, there's a group going to Rome, a group of 100 from United States to Rome, but the tour operator, when he does the booking, he does not know are the passengers coming from New York, from Chicago, or somewhere else. So he knows approximately 100 people, but the origin is not clear at the time of the booking. And also the group size is not defined at the time of a booking. There could be a couple of more than initially booked. It could be less than that, so that's pretty much dynamic. And last but not least, one characteristic is that the tickets will be issued a couple of days before departure, also in lower booking classes, which is a clear difference to what we have in individual travel, where the ticket is normally issued a couple of days after booking in lower booking classes. So having said that, so these characteristics are driving the complexity of group business significantly. So first of all, put yourself in the head of the revenue manager, having large numbers of passengers booking long time advance before departure, and no tickets will be issued. So the inventory is somehow at risk. So the airline offering group business need to kind of protect their inventory and has to define some regulations and a framework under which has to be applied. Then an agent can cancel groups. So you do not want that is widely open. So these are regulations which are allowing the travel agent that he can keep the group, cancel it until certain days before departure without a penalty, or if you're coming closer to the departure date, the penalty is even higher. So these kind of framework must be defined. It's typically for group business, and also you need forms of monitoring it and also enforcing the contract and see whether the group is flown according to the commercial conditions set up. The second characteristic actually is, as I said, you do not know the names of the passengers, you do not know the size of the passengers. You have to provide processes that groups can be increased, groups can be reduced, names can be changed, and all that. And the third characteristic is also from a revenue management perspective, you do not want to give capacity for a group of large number of passengers, even though the inventory is wide open at the time of the booking. So here are some specialities that need to be reflected, and you need a kind of a group revenue management system if you're offering group business. So this is pretty much complex, but who is interested in complexity? So it's definitely not the customer. He wants to have it differently than that. And that brings me to the next chart, actually. So what are the buyer expectations in a B2B segment? What creates value for a travel agent who is doing group business? So one remark at the beginning. I pretty much feel that the expectations from a B2B user do not vary much to a B2C user. I think times are over when you can explain a B2B user saying, well, you are a power user, you're working with the application every day, so you have to accept that it's very complex, that it's not simple. You need 3 weeks of training before you starting the application and using the application. I think these times are over. These times are over. We all here in the room, and I think all B2B users are using Uber, are using Amazon, are using Airbnb, and the customer experience we are doing there are setting actually the expectations also for B2B applications. So we want to have it simple, we want to have it smooth. So what does it mean exactly for a travel agent doing group business? What he wants to have, he wants very simple processes to do group business. It must be simple, it cannot be complex. It must be speedy. He wants to have offers in real time, and he doesn't want to wait for offers longer than a second. It must be it must be transparent to him. Offers must be clear and transparent, that there's no doubt what are the conditions. And last but not least, he wants to control the business, so he doesn't want to wait in a call center and asking, can I increase the number of the passengers or so forth? He wants to do it basically by himself. So having said that, and we did stand at Lufthansa a couple of years back. And I can openly and frankly say that was a disaster. So we had very, very manual processes in place to raising a request, to provide an offer, and finally to get the booking done. So without bothering you with the details, but simply it was like a travel agent has to call in or send a fax to the sales agent at Lufthansa and saying, well, I would like to have a group that wants to travel from A to B on that specific date. So the group sales agent calculated the price because there are special discounts which apply for groups, sent the requests for evaluation to revenue management. They were looking at it and say, well, it's okay, you can have the capacity, or they would say, no, you don't get the capacity, and the process already starts again. So from telling that, you understand maybe that the average time where the travel agent gets an offer was 4 days on average, and in complex use cases it was up to 14 days. On top of that, we had 100 locally grown contracts. Each market was different, and handling of contracts on commercial conditions was also a disaster. And last but not least, we at Lufthansa Group, having Lufthansa, Swiss, and Austrian Airlines, each airline has their separate processes, separate commercial conditions, which actually made it even more complex. In a nutshell, everybody involved in group business was really frustrated. Travel agents were frustrated because they were waiting long time for offers. Users, internal users working in this group business, our employees were frustrated because they had so many manual work steps which didn't really create value. And last but not least, our management started to get frustrated because we started to lose business. Because our process was so bad, we felt that travel agents draw away from us and doing business with others who could offer more simple solutions. So this was the time actually when we decided we have to do something. We would like to transform our group business, and we would fight for the digital journey, and actually we wanted to win the digital race. And as always, it is good if you have an elephant, it's good to cut it in pieces. And actually we'd cut the elephant in 2 pieces. There were some smaller pieces beneath, but these are the building blocks, the main building blocks. And the first one actually was that we were actually transforming the group business from a digital perspective. We were analyzing the processes, we redesigned the processes, we automated the processes, we did not electrify existing business, we did really the redesign of it, and at the end of the whole process, we were implementing a group booking platform for Lufthansa Airlines. And we were happy to launch that in October 2015. In the meantime, Austrian and Swiss started or had already implemented their own tools in place. So our travel agents wonder, oh, you have a good process, but why you offer us 3 separate tools where we as a travel agent has to request groups from the Lufthansa group, consisting out of Lufthansa, Swiss, and Austrian Airlines. We had a reorganization which was being effected on 1st of January 2016, where we organizational-wise grew together and we also communicated to this market. So this actually made enough, even higher pressure on us that we offer something integrated. And so we decided to integrate the existing solutions at the Lufthansa Group for group business into one common platform. And what we did actually, we looked on the existing platforms and we did a best of breed approach, where we said, well, from the sales front end, the Lufthansa version is more appropriate or more advanced. But on the revenue management side, the Swiss actually is the forerunner in our group when it comes to revenue management and in particular to dynamic pricing. So they were the first ones actually who were able to have dynamic pricing for group business, and Lufthansa and Austrian were not that far at that time. So there was a huge challenge to have a common group revenue management system, the GSO basically, that supports out of one hand and within one application both classic and dynamic pricing. And that was a technical challenge we jointly took. On the same time, actually, apart from that technical challenge, it was a huge challenge to, let's say, to integrate these three airlines and bring them on a common platform. While the first, actually, the first step, the Lufthansa, the initial setup of a digital solution was more like a digital transformation process. The second step, combining all airlines on one platform, was, I think, to my view, a big organizational transformation with other challenges and difficulties, and I will come to that in a bit. So we were able to launch the integrated Book a Group platform in May 2017. And I would appreciate actually to show you the application, how it looks like, but that would be too timey, and I decided to show you a short video where you can see in 90 seconds what group business is at Lufthansa Group right now. Can you play the video, please?
Ready, steady, click. The group booking tool from Lufthansa Group Airlines, exclusively for travel agencies and tour operators. Mrs. Miller dreams of a relaxing holiday on the Mediterranean with 10 friends. Mr. Jones urgently needs to fly to Tokyo with 20 colleagues for a business meeting. More than 100 cruise passengers must arrive on time at the quayside in Miami. And each group wants your immediate help to organize their travel. That's why the Lufthansa Group is providing a smart online tool, Book a Group. It enables you to book and manage groups online, quickly and conveniently. Easily get offers in real time for the requested flights from Austrian Airlines, Lufthansa or Swiss. Book directly and receive confirmation instantly. The flight options and all the available prices will be displayed at a glance, each with a best buy guarantee and in your own local currency. But that's not all. Once you've booked, it's easy to manage everything. For example, you can add and remove passengers or enter and change names. It couldn't be easier. Simply choose one of 14 languages and get started. So you'll always have group bookings perfectly under control. Sign your travel agency up now for Book a Group and make the most of its many benefits.
So this is 90 seconds, what Book a Group is all about. Huge work of 4 years to achieve that, but I cannot better explain what Group a Group is all about. This 90 seconds pretty much explain it very well. So I would like to go to step 1 and step 2 a bit more in detail. So what we did actually in the first step is, we connect 12,000 travel agents with that platform. We were, as you saw, we created and offered real-time offers with available flight options and immediate booking facilities. Online self-servicing is part of it. We also standardized and simplified the commercial conditions. And as I said, basis for this was the redesign of the entire group processes end-to-end from the booking of the group, from the request of the group until the group has been flown. To achieve this, we had to set up the group system landscape. We renewed it, including of 50 interfaces and 7 IT software partners to make that happen. And our PROS was one of these partners and helping us on our digital journey. We had been more efficient internally after we implemented the platform, but that was not the key driver for our activity. So the key driver was it actually to create benefit and value to our customers. And the key value drivers are actually fast offers on the spot, simplicity, getting bookings in real time with a very good price matrix where everything is very explained transparently, and the self-service options. And our business assumption actually was, and be aware that we are producing like 9% of our ticket revenues is with groups, so it's a significant revenue source for us. So we wanted to increase our group business by approximately 5%, and we successfully achieved this. So that is something what we did with the first step. Clear message, customer value was the key driver for the whole thing. And the second one, after we established the platform in the market, we harmonized and integrated all airlines at the Lufthansa Group in one platform. We harmonized the product and services, so we were able to offer the entire content of all these 3 airlines in one tool. The commercial conditions, which had been very, very differently, were harmonized among these 3 carriers, and also for manual inquiries, there's only one customer touch point for all of these 3 airlines in one market, which was not the case before. So we set up and redefined the market teams. So there is one team responsible in one market for all the 3 airlines. So that was also an organizational change in the Lufthansa Group to rearrange the sales structure here. We do have a common technology, and that means we are not using the same technology. We are using the technology within one single instance. So there's one GSO in place for the revenue management component, which is used by all 3 airlines. As I said, with classic and dynamic pricing. And this was really an achievement that we really were able to reduce the complexity by having only one instance. That is that helps us to reduce development costs in the future, to help us to reduce maintenance costs. It helps us to reduce the cost of people operating the systems internally. So we made that happen, that we have really one single instance for all applications in that specific landscape. And on top of that, we also did harmonize the processes for that group business. That was really painful work. So as you can imagine, having 3 airlines coming together, different cultures in place, although we speak all the same language, there are still different cultures, and it was not an easy going thing. So it was something which really created huge discussions, but in the end of the day, we made it finally, and we were able to achieve this goal. And this project here also was triggered by creating additional value for the customer. So we didn't want the customer to, when he wants to do group business with one of the Lufthansa carriers, that he has to step into separate tools. So we would like to have it all in one. We wanted that for him, all the commercial conditions are the same, instead of learning 3 separate different frameworks and so forth. Also here we expected a value for the travel agent and also for us internally in terms of a revenue increase by 3%, and also here we are on a good track to achieve this. From an internal perspective here, we were the first ones in the Lufthansa Group where we really have a joint application on a single instance. So we were the first ones who are really having harmonized processes for that specific area here, and the first ones who have a common product defined. So this was the reason why this project internally was treated as a lighthouse project, because we were the first ones in the Lufthansa Group to go in this path here. And that's the reason why a lot of management attention had been on this project. Well, that was a work over the last 4 years which I was working on these things. And I would like to share some learnings which we had in this project, or in both of these projects basically. So first of all, time to market was significantly important for us. So we did significant scope management. We decided jointly which requirement can be deferred in order to make a milestone. We had huge discussions with our providers on here on flexibility to change milestones and to change scope. We did use agile development practices in order to speed up. And we have stepwise migration approaches to produce something into production, to promote something in production earlier and not waiting for the whole piece to be there. In a project like this, where you have 7 IT partners in the game, where you have 3 airlines in the game with teams from revenue management, IT, and sales, it becomes critical that all the teams have a delivery on time DNA in their mind. If one team does not have that DNA in their mind, it becomes difficult to deliver the whole thing on time. So that is something that was very, very important, and we successfully managed it. Change management is key. This morning we heard that the technology is there, but you will need the people, and that is definitely true. So we have to take the internal stakeholders on this journey with us to exploit the technology to create benefit for our customers. We have to change the mindsets in all airlines to have a common goal and have this common goal in mind instead of having airline individual targets in mind. And of course, also on the external side, remember we introduced the process, the tool to 12,000 travel agents worldwide in a very short time period. Even though they hated the old process, they still were used to it. And when we introduced a new tool, of course, they had to be prepared for that with significant communication campaigns and information what exactly changes, how the future will look like. And the fourth learning actually is do not underestimate the importance of user experience in a B2B application. So we spent a hell of money also in designing the workflow in the surface, in the GUI, in the system interface for the user that is smooth for him and easy to understand. So we couldn't allow for huge trainings before the application can be used by the user. And last but not least, the selection of reliable and flexible IT partners was really critical in that project. And we were happy that pros were one of those partners being part of that digital journey and make this project a joint success. So we did work with pros more as a partnership than with a IT supplier relationship. So that is the prerequisite actually to achieve a common goal in a given time frame. Yeah, and that's it from my side. Thank you very much for your time and listening and sharing my learnings with you on that really exciting project. Thank you very much.